Chapter 17. The Meeting. Goldspawn was a huge city. It was close to 10 miles across from its northernmost wall to its southern wall. It had a population that numbered in the millions, even when the army wasn't using the city as a staging post for an invasion. Surrounding the city, over 1,000 different farms catered to its immediate needs. With the proximity of the border with Florida to the south, and the border with 1,000 tribes to the west, most of these farms were located either to the north or to the east of the city. The long-deserted Hennick's farm was one of only a few farms that were located to the west of the city. It had been partially demolished during a skirmish between soldiers of the Elven Empire and goblins of the Yagnot tribe during one of their frequent wars. 3 of the farm's buildings were all that still existed of the farm. All 3 were in a terrible state of repair. The farmhouse, where Hennick's and his family had lived, was nothing more than a blackened shell. The roof was gone, leaving only an ashen residue on what was left of the support walls. The stable still had its roof, but 2 of the supporting walls were gone, causing that roof to slant down at about 30 degrees. At least the utility shed still seemed to be standing pretty much in one piece. In between the 3 buildings sat a large well, which looked as if it had been sunk hastily. The rim of the well had a single layer of light-coloured rocks to help it stand out and thus prevent potential accidents. There was no winch or bucket to aid with the withdrawing of the water from the well. Reyes and his companions circled the farm buildings slowly, getting a feel for the layout of the place before they came into land. There was already a small group of 3 harpies perched on one of the more secure parts of the stable roof. They turned slowly as Reyes flew past them, their eyes glued on him and those with him. There was also a single harpy hanging out down by the well. She had taken a perch on one of the rough-looking rocks on the lip of the well and seemed to be puzzling over a way of getting the water out. "I was kind of hoping to find more waiting for us here," Reyes commented absently. "There's time yet," Quinaggoth assured him. "Is this really the place, my chief?" Quinaggoth asked doubtfully. "This is the place," Libnah confirmed. Quinaggoth glanced angrily over her shoulder, retorting, "I didn't ask you." "Hey, sweetie," Libnah offered. "Seriously, don't lay an egg. You'll do yourself an injury." "Hey, girls," Reyes insisted. "Calm down, both of you. We don't want to make a bad example in front of our guests." "Sorry," Quinaggoth apologised between clenched teeth. Reyes came into land on one of the walls that had once supported the roof of the farmhouse. Quinaggoth was right. It was still early. Maybe an hour, maybe 90 minutes before he was due to hold his meeting. There was still plenty of time for others to arrive. Well, while he was waiting, there were 1 or 2 other things he wanted to do. He brought the scrying crystal out of the hammerstone. Since he had planned to be home sometime yesterday afternoon, he felt it was a good idea to contact Mangloth and let him know what was happening. "Mangloth? Are you there? Mangloth, answer me." Reyes could feel a strange magical resistance, as if he was trying to force his way through a magical barrier, such as the one that had tried to block his communication yesterday. Yet, surely here, more than a mile from the city of Goldspawn, the shield that had blocked his ability to scry should no longer be in effect. "Hello," came the reply. It was almost a whisper, and sounded quite uncertain. It didn't have the same feel to it that Mangloth usually did, although Reyes thought that was probably to do with whatever was causing the magical resistance. "Mangloth?" Reyes asked for clarification. Once again his head was beginning to throb. "Yes," Mangloth replied. "Who is this? Greyforth? Barden? Reyes?" "This is Reyes," Reyes confirmed, making a mental note that he was last on the list. "I have the canvas, and I should be back tonight." "Good," Mangloth replied, sounding a little uncertain. "We did expect you back yesterday. We were beginning to think something had happened to you." "I got delayed," Reyes explained. "I take it you haven't heard from my brother or Sir Richmond yet?" "Your brother should be back at any minute." "I've not heard from Barden, though, since he crossed the border. I'm worried that something has happened to him." "I did hear a rumour that the Emperor has been killed," Reyes revealed. He held his head for a second. This communication was beginning to hurt. "I don't know how true it is." "We can always hope," Mangloth replied. "What about Gagara?" Reyes asked, worrying about his girlfriend. "I think she's made a full recovery," Mangloth replied. "I still worry about the child, but Gagara herself is very healthy right now. She and your sister have retired to what we have started to call the Royal Suite, and are having a discussion about something." "Oh, really?" Reyes commented. It felt like every thought was pushing through molasses. I think I know what they're discussing, and I think they would like it to be a surprise, so I probably shouldn't tell you, Mangloss teased. Reyes didn't reply to Mangloss's statement. The pain in his head was already getting too much for him. Why am I having so much trouble trying to talk to you? I'm outside the city. Communication should be clear. Mangloss seemed to want to change the subject. What happened to that harpy you spotted? The one from your village, the one you thought might have sold us out. We killed her, Reyes admitted. Actually, Quinaggoth killed her. That was part of what caused the delay. Good, Mangloss replied, because by the look of it, she, or maybe another like her, did sell information concerning our location to the elves. There are a number of small patrols out in the forest now, searching for us. Fortunately, it looks as if you might have killed their guide, as they only seem to have a rough idea of where to find us. So far, I've only seen a few soldiers. I don't think they have the manpower to send a decent assault force from Goldspawn yet. Everyone from there is already involved in the invasion of Floreth. They might send an army out from the south, Reyes warned. That's what I fear, Mangloss agreed. Anyway, I've been forced to place an anti-scry shield of my own over the encampment to stop the elves locating this place through magic. That's why you're having trouble getting through. Had you tried from Goldspawn, I doubt you would have gotten through at all. I better go, Reyes said. The pain in his head was getting worse with each second. Tell Gagara I'll be back tonight. Sheesh, my head feels like it's going to explode. Your head hurts, Mangloss asked. Why didn't you say something? Hold on. A moment later, Reyes' head felt clear. The pain was gone. What did you do? A simple spell for headaches, Mangloss answered. Since we're connected through the scrying crystals, I was able to cast it on you at range. I wish you'd cast it on me after we'd spoken yesterday, Reyes commented. I didn't know you were in distress then, Mangloss replied. Be good. I'll see you tonight. And with that, the mage broke the connection. Reyes stood there for a moment, glancing at the scrying ball, his mind probing the corners of his thoughts, checking to see if the pain in his head was truly gone. Then he tucked the crystal back into the hammerstone. In the time it had taken Reyes to contact Mangloss, both Quinaggoth and Quinaggoth had taken perches close to him, while Libnah had decided to continue slowly circling the farm. She concentrated her circuits more to the west and slightly to the north, towards the direction of the mountains. You don't like Libnah, do you? Reyes asked Quinaggoth. I trust her, boss, Quinaggoth offered. That's the problem, my chief, Quinaggoth voiced. I do trust her, but I don't know why. I don't know the girl, so why do I feel this trust for her? Something feels wrong. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but it feels wrong. As if I'm being manipulated. I guess I don't trust the trust I feel for her. Reyes nodded his head. Libnah did seem very trustworthy. It was probably nothing more than her good nature, though. Libnah was always smiling. Nothing ever seemed to get her down. With her extremely sensitive harpy hearing, she might even have been able to overhear their conversation. And yet, Reyes doubted it would have bothered her. Reyes couldn't remember a lot of how Libnah had acted in the cell under the arena, but he wouldn't have been surprised to discover that she had been smiling even in there, even knowing that she might not survive the day. Besides, Quinaggoth was right to be suspicious. She was only doing her job. On this occasion, though, he felt certain that Quinaggoth was just overreacting. Time seemed to pass slowly. Reyes left his perch and flew down to the well with his two bodyguards at his side. The harpy, who was already down there, suddenly seemed very alert, but she made no overtly hostile move, even though Reyes had taken her a little bit by surprise. It seemed that the action of Reyes leaving the farmhouse became the signal to the group of harpies that were gathered on the stable to come and join the others at the well. They landed on the ground a few feet from the well, keeping their distance. Reyes assumed that the one in the middle was the village's leader, although all three of them were armed with dart throwers. We should wait a little bit longer, Reyes said, and maybe there'll be some late arrivals. I have things I need to be doing, commented the harpy that was standing by the well. I should get back to my village. Libnah came in to land a short distance off and approached the group slowly. She kept her hands neutrally at her sides as she approached, although she carried no weapon that she might reach for anyway. I see no one else, goddess. This was it then, Reyes thought to himself rather unhappily. There'd been more than 20 harpies in the arena when he had addressed them. Had they all been caught by the elven militia? Did they just not believe anymore that he was Lammerwalt? They seemed to have accepted his claim easily back in the arena. Reyes thought he understood. These two were here because they had actually been at the arena themselves, and they had actually seen him perform magic. The others, though, had just been ordinary huntresses, and without the proof to back up their claims, they had probably been ignored. He could see it now. The young harpy flies back to her village with exciting news. "My leader, Lammerwalt the Eternal, has summoned you to a meeting at the old deserted Hennick's farm, blah de blah." The reply? It would be short and to the point. "Don't be silly. Lammerwalt died centuries ago. Some harpies might be willing to revere Lammerwalt as a goddess, but that would make little difference unless they knew for certain who it was that summoned them. So what is this about?" It was the harpy with the two bodyguards who pressed the question. Reyes looked at the harpy and sighed loudly as he did so. 2 was better than nothing. The elves are up to something in Arlis. I don't know what yet, but I do know that whatever it is, it's going to be detrimental to us as well as to the humans, and very possibly to the goblins. "The elves are our allies," one of the bodyguards commented. "Gonetta is right," the leader from the stable roof commented, indicating her sister. "We do a lot of business with the elves. Why should we care what they're doing on some distant land?" "Can you really claim to trust them?" Reyes asked. The harpies from the stables looked at each other uncertainly. The lone harpy who had been standing by the well chose that moment to comment. "Our history of both elves and goblins has hardly been a good one. They haven't always been fair in their dealings with us, and their attitude towards us tends to be one of tolerance rather than friendship. I've been kicked out of more shops than I can name." "So you don't like the elves," Reyes commented hopefully. "I don't like the elves. They don't like me," the harpy agreed. "It's mutual." "What do you suggest?" asked the harpy from the stable. "I want to stop the elves in their tracks. I want us to aid the humans in a battle, to take the main island of Arlis back from the elves." The harpy that stood by the well began to laugh. "You want us to help the humans? Are you mad? I may not like the elves, but I hate humans." Even Libnah seemed quite incredulous at the comment. "You want us to help the humans?" Then the leader of those who had been perched on the stable roof commented, "At least the harpies never execute us without reason. It's always been the law in Florif that harpies are killed on sight. Why would we want to help such people? The humans have a new king, and she is willing to support us if we are willing to support her," Reyes said. "Let her make the first move," the harpy by the well commented. "Once she has shown us that we can trust her, then maybe we'll consider helping. For the right price." "I am Lammerwalt," Reyes insisted. "Really?" the harpy from the stable questioned. "I'll admit I thought you might be Lammerwalt. You seem to have some ability with magic, but Lammerwalt would have made a far more impressive showing. I mean, where is everyone? Are you really Lammerwalt, or do you just have 1 or 2 gadgets that simulate magic? That ring you're wearing, for example, that could be magical." "Is it possible?" Libnah asked doubtfully. "Are you Lammerwalt or not?" "Tell you what," the harpy from the stable commented. "Use your magic to knock down the remains of the farmhouse, and we'll listen to whatever else you have to say." "You want me to perform for your entertainment?" Reyes said indignantly. Reyes looked at the farmhouse wall and couldn't think of a single spell in his repertoire that would accomplish such a task. "Just prove your power," the harpy insisted. "That is all." "I will not be turned into a sideshow for your entertainment," Reyes growled. "Fine," the harpy from the stable shot back. "In that case, my sisters and I are leaving. Think yourselves lucky that we don't just kill you for wasting our time." With that statement, the 3 harpies that had been perched on the stable when Reyes had arrived took to the air and flew off towards the distant mountains. The remaining leader began to laugh. She shook her head as if she found something very amusing, and then she too took to the air and left the farm behind. "I guess that didn't go quite as planned, did it?" Libnah said. She hesitated, and then threw in a "my goddess" as an uncertain afterthought. "I guess not. I should have rehearsed my speech better," Reyes replied. "I seriously thought there would be more here, and that threw me a little. I also thought that the fact that I claimed to be Lammerwalt the Eternal would have been enough to sway them. I'm afraid this has all been a complete waste of time. I probably am lucky that they didn't just kill me." "Are you really wanting to help the humans on the island of Arlis?" Libnah asked. "Who mentioned Arlis?" Reyes asked. "You did," Libnah commented. "Right when you first addressed the meeting." "You did," Tanegi confirmed. "Are you really Lammerwalt?" Libnah asked. "Aye," Reyes replied. Libnah wasn't waiting for an answer. I'll tell you what. Why don't I follow them back to the mountain? Maybe I can flip from village to village and raise a little bit of support for you and your campaign. Reyes grinned. Did you decide that maybe I'm not the wonder goddess you first thought I was? Do you intend to leave me too? Libnah didn't answer the question. Instead, she launched herself into the air. I'll see you in Arlis. Then, without any formality, she began to follow the two leaders towards the distant mountains. I doubt we'll see her again, Reyes commented. No great loss, Quinaggoth suggested. You never know, Dinigo replied wistfully. She may surprise us all. Let's go, Reyes voiced. We're overdue back.